really was defining that market. That was where we could launch a market and grow it, and then finally figuring out where our flywheel stage was.
Hey, welcome back to the show. And today I think you're going to have so much fun in this interview because we've got Dan with us to tell us about what he's built, how he's doing it, and what he wishes he would have done differently. Dan, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm Dan Feliciano. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Clotheslyne. Clotheslyne is a peer-to-peer marketplace that allows customers and small businesses to outsource their laundry outside of urban areas, right? So
Love it.
most people think about outsourcing their laundry as like a big city thing, but
Right.
laundry is like that universal pain point for every single person in the world, and most people don't have the capability to outsource it. And so, what we've done is created a marketplace where people can meet other people in their community and outsource their laundry to, a person in their community who's trying to make some extra money. That person picks up the laundry, washes it, and then brings it back in a
I
day or
love
two.
it.
So really allows people to free up their weekends, the customers, and on the flip side, it allows our clothesliners, the people who are doing the laundry, to make a little bit extra money, usually to support some kind of family venture or something.
That is so awesome. I got to tell you, I didn't share this with you earlier, but my great grandfather immigrated to the US from Holland. And the way that they did it, when he and his wife decided, hey, we're going to move to America, they did it doing laundry. And so in their home for other neighbors and friends, things like that, this is very interesting. You're the first person I've ever met who dove into this industry with something different than the norm. You're kind of the Uber
Yeah.
for laundry. This is really, really fun. Tell us why did you want to solve this problem?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest reason we wanted to solve it is because I'm a dad, my wife and I have two children, young children, and
Right.
just laundry is endless, right? I mean, anybody who's got a family out there or is also a small business owner, laundry can really just like kind of absorb your entire life. If you're not doing it, you're thinking about it. If you're not thinking
Right.
about it, you could be arguing about it.
Yeah.
Endless discussions with my wife about this chair, at the same chair everybody has, the laundry chair, where laundry just goes to either be worn again or thrown into the
Right.
wash, whether it was clean or not.
Right.
Um, and so like me and my co-founder we identified that as like a main issue for both of us. But we also identified the idea that there are people out there that love doing laundry, even though most people, 70% of the people, hate it. There
I
are
think
some laundry
80.
lovers out
80.
there. Yeah. And, and they're looking to find ways to get into like the gig economy and to get into the ability to make a little bit
Right.
of extra money. And so we just created this opportunity for both sides, the customer side and the service provider side, and said, hey, let's match these two people up and
I
see if we
love it.
can, build something with that.
I think this is awesome. I think it's not only hilarious, but it's just awesome. To solve this problem, a lot of people have been trying to solve the driving problem. A lot of people are solving the get food to my house problem. But this is a big deal because you're right. There's not a single person in the world that doesn't have to clean their clothes every once in a while, right? And so
Yeah.
you're providing a service where they're not just cleaning, they're folding, ironing. Like what are there add-ons? I haven't been on the app yet to see what's going on here. What are they doing?
Yeah. So what makes it awesome, and the real reason why we thought it was like the way to solve laundry outsourcing is because it's people, individual people doing other people's laundry. The
Right.
combinations are endless, right? And so you're not dealing with a laundromat or a laundry factory where, your clothes are going in and they're going to be handled by a business. You're dealing with another human. And so
Right.
if you like your laundry done a certain way, if you like it folded a certain way,
Right.
you can talk to that other person through our app and be like, hey, can you fold it this way, or can you separate my kids' clothes from my clothes so that when it comes back,
Crazy.
it's easier for us to put it back together. The whole
Crazy.
reason for the name Clotheslyne is because when I was a kid, we were poor and we didn't have a dryer. So,
Right.
we lived in upstate New York, and even when it was like winter, if it was sunny outside, you did your laundry and you put your clothes on the clothesline and the
Love
sun
it.
would dry it. But what happened is I love the way that clothes feel when they come in off of a clothesline. And
Interesting.
so our thought process was like, this thing is so individualized. Like you can be so like specific with your order that if you have a clothesliner who has a laundry line and you have a
Right.
customer that wants that, you can match those two up. And now you can go all the way down to like drying your clothes on an outside laundry line.
Okay, that's
Like
awesome.
that's how specialized we can get.
That is
And
so
that's really
awesome.
only available in this model.
That's so funny. I mean, honestly, this is really, really. I can only imagine your whiteboard sessions when trying to identify, like, all right, what else could they do, and how do we add that to the app?
Yeah.
And like, this has got to be really cool. So like, I got to ask though, if I'm the guy sending my laundry out and a pen gets left in my pocket and the whole load gets ruined, what goes on there?
Yeah, so I mean, don't leave a pen in your pocket if you're doing laundry. That's like the number one
Right.
thing. Our clothesliners, they go through the laundry and they check. So, once a laundry order comes in,
Yeah.
they go through, they check the pockets. I mean, a really interesting thing. We had a customer last week call us up frantic. She was a bartender. It was
Yeah.
the day after St. Patrick's Day, and she had like $5,700 in tips in her pocket. And
What?
every dollar of that came back to her the next day when her laundry came back. Again,
Folded in a roll?
yeah, folded and wrapped, like, but like that's the beauty of like person to person, right? Like if
Right.
that was a
Right.
business and it's going to go through multiple hands, that order, you never know. Like maybe you can
No.
track it down, maybe you can't. But she
That's a
had the
cool
same
story.
clothesliner every single week. She knew who she was. The clothesliner knew who she was. Like it's
Very
just
cool.
like having an extension of your family. And so generally our clothesliners will go through the laundry. They check for any
Love it.
kind of like stuff like that. But ultimately the customers need to make sure, you're not putting a cashmere sweater in with
Right.
washing for. This is just washing, right? So I mean,
Right,
if it's a
right, right, right.
cashmere sweater
Take it
and
to
you
dry
put it
cleaner.
in there, yeah, it's probably going to come back like this big. I mean, I'll be honest with you, right? Like it'll be animal sized afterwards, but
I
everything else
love
should
this.
be good to go.
I love this. This is fantastic. This is one of the fun ones that come along periodically on the show that I was kind of excited to dive into this a little bit because I had no idea what to expect, to be honest. And now that you're sharing it, I just love it. What is the you know, as you look at your growth, I'm assuming this started fairly regionally because you had to have a set of laundry lovers to be able to
Yeah.
do what probably lots of people wanted. Are you finding it? Is the growth happening more extensively in the city or outside in the rural areas?
Yeah, so our best markets are like our small sized metropolitan areas. So I don't
Okay,
know where you're located, but here in New York, a perfect
yeah,
example of that is like Albany, New York, or Westchester, or
I
Danbury,
gotcha.
Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island. Um, and the reason why that's really super successful markets for us right now is because you have a mix of urban and suburban. You
Right,
have people that know that there's the capability to outsource their laundry. It's just usually a pain in the butt to get to where like the
totally,
laundromats are, right? So if you live
totally.
near a city, even if it's a small city, there's going to be laundromats there.
Sure,
But
sure.
you don't want to go there, right? But you
No,
still want to outsource your laundry. And so the concept of outsourcing your laundry is bigger in areas like that. Also, some of the other gig models are already established in areas like that. So, like Fresh Direct or
right.
Rover, things where people are already outsourcing chores that they don't want to do. They're
Gotcha.
established in these areas. And so then when we go in with another opportunity for for our customers to claw back their time,
Right.
it's a little more familiar. As you start getting out into like the more rural areas,
Sure.
it becomes like a behavioral change. It's a little bit different, a little bit harder to build up those markets, but we've still been successful there.
That's
We've been
cool.
successful. Our local area is very rural,
Yeah.
but we're all the way from our local area to New York City and Staten Island and Queens, and so
Love it.
we've been
Love
able
it.
to make it work in all different kinds of environments because, like what we said, laundry is universal.
Sure.
But right now, our best markets are mid to medium sized
I get
urban,
you.
suburban areas. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am so glad you're here. And I just wanted to take a few seconds to tell you about a program that we have assembled with a lot of our podcast guests and a lot of people who are listening to the show who are feeling the same way that they do. There's a recurring theme. You'll hear a lot of these founders talk about, I couldn't have done it without my team. I couldn't have done it without a support group of peers. I couldn't have done it without having someone to talk to that understood my feeling of isolation as an operator of my business. You see, you're not alone. It is hard running a business, and it's even harder when you know you can't express all your deepest concerns and frustrations with your executive team. It makes them nervous. It gets them scared. You don't want scared people on your executive team. So where do you turn? The Captain's Council is where you turn. The Captain's Council, it is an organization that we are put together with podcast guests, as well as people who are listening who are in the same boat. You see, peers are the only ones that can give you the type of empathy, the type of advice that only a founder or operator know and understand. Go check it out at captainscouncil.com. I know you're going to love what you see there. We have put together an organizational structure that has small group settings, a global community of founders and operators, as well as monthly and quarterly in-person events. You're going to love what you see there. I can't wait for you to check it out and enjoy the rest of this episode. That makes total sense. It makes total sense. I just think, I'm thinking of my wife, and I'm thinking, we have 7 kids, and we're about to launch our 4th out of the nest here. And so we're down to 3. And honestly, she's like, it feels like we're empty nested. Like our laundry is low. Like we're not doing 5 loads a day. We're doing maybe 1 or 2 a day. Right. And it's just this crazy mess. But this sounds so cool. So as you look at your growth and as you were experimenting with these different market types, what would you say looking back has been like the key decision where you were like, yeah, if we had figured that out a year earlier, we would have been 10x farther. You know what I mean? What is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, it really was defining that market that was where we could launch a market and grow it, and then finally figuring out where our flywheel stage was. So like how much GMV did we need to create for that market to become self-sustaining, and then we can move on to the next market. And so once we finally figured out, okay, these are our best markets, they grow the fastest, they get to flywheel status quickly, so that we can take that marketing budget and move it on to the next market.
Totally.
I think that took a little bit of time for us to figure out. And then once we figured that out, then it was just a matter of being like, okay, where are 50 markets that look exactly like this market? And
totally.
And now let's just kind of roll out to there, because the process is very simple. Like the Clothesliner base is readily available. I mean, one of the things that is different about our marketplace is, earlier you said we were the Uber of laundry, and we like to say that we are exactly not the Uber of laundry.
Oh.
We are the opposite of the Uber of laundry.
Okay, tell me why.
The biggest reason why is because our clothesliners are given a space on our platform to be successful, right? So we encourage our clothesliners to build a book of business. So it's not randomized at all, right? When a customer comes on our platform, they look at who's available in their area, and then they choose their service provider, and then our service providers get to choose whether or not they want to work with that person. And then they work with that same person over and over again. Yeah, exactly. And
awesome.
So they're like these tiny little mini entrepreneurs. And so we've created an opportunity, whereas Uber is different, right? With the anonymized way that they assign things, and you never might not ever see a person again. We do the opposite, and really we do that on purpose, because laundry is really, really, really personal to people. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
incredibly intimate to most people. And so
No doubt.
you kind of want to know that the person you're handing your laundry to is somebody that you can trust, right? And who's going to bring your stuff, bring your $5,700 back the next
Right.
day, right?
Right.
And so, that's like at the very ethos of who we are, is that the people
Love
who
it.
are doing our laundry are extremely important to us and they need to be able to be successful. And then our customers need to know that they're going to get their $5,700 back at the end
Right.
of the day.
Now, you just said something, you said a few things very interesting there because, when I mentioned the Uber of laundry, obviously what I meant was anyone with a washer and dryer could hop on as a clothesliner and
Yeah,
offer those
monetize.
services. Right, right, right. But, I see your point exactly because Uber has kind of taken advantage of the model a bit and taken all these gig workers and just said, yeah, maybe you'll get a ride, maybe you won't, and it is a very hard thing. I wish several times that when I fly into a city that I go to regularly, that I could just call up the same guy I've used before and just find him
Yeah,
somehow. I don't know.
yeah.
There might be a way to do that, but I don't know how to do that. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I don't know either. And I don't think there is, and there's a reason that Uber does that, and it's part of their business model. Our business
sure,
model is just the way that we do it. And I think like if you're doing ride service, then you have a thought process about how ride service is and how picky people are about which
sure,
cars they're going to get in. Um,
sure.
our model is just different because we have that like belief structure. One, because I'm an entrepreneur and I
Right,
come from a background of people just like your family who did
right.
odd jobs and like had to build up little businesses. And
Totally.
so like repeat business and being able to count on somebody
It matters.
is super important, right? It's super
Right.
important. And then if you do a good job, you want to know that that matters. And so it
And
matters to
and I would
us as the
imagine,
owners of the company.
yeah, and I would imagine that what you're doing for these people, these gig workers, is you're providing a place to receive payments, to guarantee that things are prepaid, to get the reputation, to get all those things. This is a huge value that you've built for these people. Now take it to the next level here. What have you run into in trying to build this business that you weren't expecting? Like, is there something that kind of sideswiped you and you thought, ah, crap, I wish I hadn't dealt with that, but I'm over it now? Like, what can you share with us?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing that we ran into that we didn't know we were going to run into is this entrenched concept that so 80% of our customers and 80% of our clothesliners are women. And when we do our customer interviews, which we do every single week,
Right.
what we find from most of our women is that there is almost um, an emotional attachment to their responsibility to do laundry, which we did not
Interesting.
anticipate. So not not only are you trying to like provide them the service, but they have to get over like an attachment to the doing the laundry where they feel like it's their responsibility to the family to
Interesting.
do laundry. And so
Yeah.
we're always thinking to ourselves like we don't understand that because we're guys, and
Totally.
like most husbands stopped mowing the lawn years ago, right? Like every single house that's one of our customers has a
Right.
lawnmower that's turning into rust in the garage because you've
Right.
outsourced lawn mowing a long time ago. And
Right.
we've never run into a husband who feels guilty that he's not mowing the lawn anymore. But
True.
when we
True.
talk to some of our customers who are women, they have to like get over that feeling that, oh, this is my job, this is my responsibility, and I have to do
Interesting.
it whether I like it or not. And so we did not anticipate that, and we had to do a lot of research. We had to put a lot of emphasis into what our brand was and how we communicate with our customers to help them get over that, right? To understand that like their time on the
Right.
weekend when their husbands are going to play golf is just as valuable, and they don't need
Totally.
to be spending it doing laundry. So
Well,
that's
I
that's been
think
interesting.
you've probably unknowingly stated in a couple different ways something that I really respect about you and the way you're operating your business, and that is, um, the right choice that you made was to better understand your avatar of who you're helping and how to help solve their pain point easier, better. and make it easy for them to access, right? Like that was the whole first part of this interview, was that you were focused on your avatar. Second big thing that you mentioned on the big challenge side of your business is the fact that you do talk to your avatar. You continue to understand their ongoing problems and concerns, and you're able to tweak and pull levers and twist knobs to make your product offering work for them. I don't know if you realize that you did that, but I'm super impressed, because these are some of the most important things for those of you listening. As you're trying to grow and scale your business, if you're not constantly tapping into that avatar of who you want to help and who you're trying to serve, good luck growing your business, right?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, no, I mean that's why, like, you can see behind us, we have one blackboard in our business, and it used to be filled with all kinds of like business ideas and KPIs and stuff, and now it's just one. And that's to protect the base of the people who made our company what it is. Like,
I love it.
protect your clothesliners, protect the thoughts and interests of your customers and what
I
drive
love
them,
it.
and be able to support them, throughout the entire process of the order. And if you can do that, if you can take care of your base,
Right.
then your base starts to take care of you, and then they start
Amen.
to become part of the team. And now, instead of us having a marketplace where it's just a bunch of individuals doing laundry, we have
Right.
brand ambassadors, and we have people who are out there, promoting, and our business grows on its own. And so then
Love
you
it.
talk about scaling. If you don't have to buy every single customer, if you're getting customers just because they've heard of you and it was free,
Totally.
I mean, you cannot beat that.
No, you can't beat that, and I love it. I think that what you've tapped into here is something that will grow organically in a super effective way, as well as just, I would imagine that a lot of the people that start off as users may consider, holy crap, I like having someone do my laundry, but I'm also pretty good at it. Maybe I'll become one of the clothesliners. Does
Yeah,
that happen regularly, or
it
tell me how
happens.
this
It
works?
happens. It
Yeah,
happens both ways. It happens both ways. It happens with clothesliners who are doing laundry, and then now they need to go on vacation or something like that. And when they come back, they have this laundry load of laundry, and they outsource it to another clothesliner that they know in the community.
I
And then
love
you
it.
also have customers who start as customers, and then they become clothesliners as their, life changes, or their kids leave the house, and
I
and
love
they
it.
don't have as much laundry, and so now they have some time where they can make some extra money.
I love it. I love it. So tell me this, because you've got this cool thing growing and building and getting some momentum right now. What kind of advice do you give to those who are struggling to tap into their clients' needs? Like, yeah, the way I look at it, I've talked to hundreds of business owners, and the ones that understand their client the best are the ones that win the most, right?
Yeah.
For those that struggle to do that, how would you recommend they start tapping into that? Because you seem to be very naturally inclined to do this.
Yeah, so I mean, I think our biggest thing, my co-founder will tell you this, I tell him all the time, is that the one thing you have to make sure that you remember is that, like, this business is not like your baby. Like, you built it and you love it, but you can't be afraid of somebody telling you that it's ugly and then you get offended, right? So you have to have
Right.
somebody, if like, when we found out that there was an emotional attachment to laundry that we didn't recognize, we
Right.
could have fought that concept and been like, no, that's not true, right? But
Totally.
you have to be able to say, no, that, like, that's true. What our customers are telling us is their truth. And if you don't listen to it, then you're not going to be able to get customers. You have
No.
to
No.
you have to listen to what they're saying, and then be like, okay, I'm not only gonna listen, but I'm gonna act on this, and I'm gonna change
I
so
love
that
it.
whatever the product is that I'm delivering matches what they want. And that's what we had to do. So there's a lot of humble pie
I love it.
eating, right? You think you know what you're doing until a customer says you're wrong, and then you need to be like, okay,
Totally.
that's fine.
Totally. And I loved that you mentioned earlier that you actually do weekly client calls. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we do up to 10 customer calls every single week.
Wow.
We try to get customers that are active customers, customers that are infrequent customers, and then we try to get people who signed up on the app and never made an order. those are difficult to get, but if you can get your hands
Right.
on those guys, it's gold, right? Like, hey, you
Wow.
went through the entire process of downloading the app, but you didn't place an order. Like, what was the barrier there, And so you try
Wow.
to understand their thought process. Um, and so yeah, I mean that all of that is every single week. We do 10 of those. We also talk to 10 clothesliners every single week
I
to
love
see
it.
how they're doing, to make sure that we understand that we're providing them with a service that's valuable to them. So,
I love it.
you just can't. We're a service-based thing, so you have to talk
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
people.
You're a SaaS based, service based kind of thing. So this
Kind
is
of.
really cool. This is really cool. I honestly, Dan, I love the model. I love how you're going about it. I honestly have no doubt that the way you're running this client outreach and the way that you're listening is going to grow and build your business in a way that you've never thought possible. I trust me, I've talked to enough founders to know you are doing the right things and you are doing this in a great way. So keep on doing what you're doing. This is so awesome. I got to ask though, in closing, who have you leaned on? Like, who's been giving you this feedback? Are you a lifer entrepreneur? Is this something that you just jumped into recently? Like, who's been in your corner?
Yeah, so I'm not a life entrepreneur. I was a Marine Corps officer for 10 years, and then I worked for
Thank
an
you.
oil company for 10 years. Yeah, no worries. And so I started this, but like one of the things you learn in the Marine Corps is that thing I was talking to you is like you have a plan, but then the plan as soon as you run into contact is going to change, and you need to be okay with
Right.
that and comfortable with that. And that was something
Right.
that they ingrained with you in the Marine Corps. But really, no, I mean I lean on other startup CEOs. So I was a part of Techstars in New
Oh,
York
cool.
City, and so
Yeah.
as part of Techstars, I was in a cohort, and you make
Awesome.
friendships and network with those people,
I love it.
and so you have to just keep on top of those networks because let's say if I have like a customer issue, I'll go to some people that are also consumer facing people and be like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
running into
Yeah.
this, and then but a lot of that is like being comfortable enough to say, hey, I'm having a problem, which a lot of
Yeah.
founders think it's not the right thing, right? Oh, I can't ever show weakness. You have to be able to say,
You have to.
I'm not understanding this. I don't get it. Can you help me with this?
Yes.
And say, look, my baby has a pimple and I can't figure out how to get rid of it. So,
Right. Right.
um,
Right.
so yeah,
Right.
I think really from like who helps me is those other co-founders, those other startup co-founders, and then the team that from my Techstars team has been really critical in like
I
just staying
can't.
in touch with us and getting on
I
top.
can't agree with you more. I can't agree with you more. It's there's something about having other peers, other CEOs or other founders who you can go to and say, "Dude, I had no idea this was going to hit me. What did you do to fix this?"
Yeah,
And then to
yeah,
get advice from people who are actively in the weeds today. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's
yeah, yeah,
there's something about consultants that kind of drive me nuts, and as a consultant it drives me nuts that sometimes I've been out of that game of what they're in right now with in today's environment, and so you feel like you're a little disconnected. And so
yeah,
but having peers who are actively growing in the same environment you are, there is something comfortable about that. So thank you for
yeah.
sharing
No,
that.
yeah, and it's extremely emotional, and like the only
Yeah.
people who can really feel that emotion are people who are also feeling those same emotions as you, and
Amen.
it can consume you.
Amen. I love it. Love it. Dan, thank you so much for sharing your insights with our audience today. And thank you. I hope this is a showcase for you. I think that your business sounds amazing. I'm maybe going to gift some of this to my wife because I think this could be really cool for her. Uh, I don't know. We'll talk about how that works later, but this sounds so awesome. And for those of you who are gain some insights and value out of this, I hope you drop a line to Dan. I hope you try his product as service, and I hope that you have learned something today because I certainly did. And so, Dan, thanks again for being part of the show, and we can't wait to see you grow from here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I love talking about it, obviously. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share what Clothesline's up to.
You bet. You bet. Thanks so much. All right. So, are you one of the ones that's going to go start your own laundry business, or are you going to use your neighbors to help you do your laundry? Well, just be careful what you're sending in your dirty laundry, because people may hear about it. All jokes aside, it is an amazing model. I loved the way he put this together, the why that he created the business. Everything about it, to me, just reeked of a clean business model. All right, whatever. So I'll stop with the puns. I am a dad of 7 kids, and dad jokes just kind of come. So I apologize for that ahead of time. But thanks so much for listening to the episode. You know, one of the things that inspired me about Dan is the way that he was able to grow through the feedback of his clothesliners. He was able to make his systems better, to make them function better, to really drive more growth by what his people were telling him. If you haven't heard already, we have an organization of other CEOs and founders called thecaptainscouncil.com. And it's for people like you who are trying to decide, what is my next step? Who can give me advice to get my business to go to that next level of growth? And it is through our organization, captainscouncil.com. Check it out. We build peer advisory boards of other active CEOs who are in the same stages of growth that you are. And they want advice. They like to give advice. If you're the type of person who loves to help other business owners, and you're looking for some help yourself, there is no better place than Captain's Council. We hope you jump in and check it out today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll catch you next time.